We have gone. All right, we are live. We are live in a living color. It's Mikey and Vinnie. It's Friday morning. It's Freaky Fractious Friday. He's Michael Knight. And he's in Pasadena.
I'm the fractious part. Vinny's the freaky part. We're both equally Friday part, and that's all you need to know about Freaky Fractious Friday.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you could know more, but that's the idea of listening, right? That you'll find out at some point what you're supposed to know.
And there's nothing you can do with that extra knowledge. When you know more, you'll find that there's no places you can use that. It won't come up in conversation anywhere. You won't be asked during the day how many brains a octopus has. That just won't be a factor in your.
I don't know how many brains does an octopus have.
There's one for each tentacle.
Really?
For a total of 8.
So that thing is moving around
with more brain power than a human.
That's not hard. I mean, some of the humans I know.
You want to explain the ray gun going off in the background?
Yeah. By the way, if you hear that sound in the background, it's the sound of our fire alarm here in the building. The fire alarm company looked at the schedule here in the Broken Arms Apartments and decided that they should test out the fire alarm exactly the time we're doing a show. And I mean, you really can't complain because this may wind up being the best show we've ever done because many of the portions will be cut out.
You present certain obstacles and we get better to overcome them.
Yeah. I mean, what else can you do? Anyway, you want to have a working fire alarm in a building. So I say tally ho, let them go ahead and hit the fire alarm, play with it, work on it, make sure it's okay. Because if there's a fire in the building and the place has a fire, I mean, I'm going to demand a refund on my rent. So you may as well get it right.
Action.
I want to see action.
If you're in Saudi Arabia, and I know you're not, but if you later in the day, if you find yourself suddenly in Saudi Arabia and you don't know what to do, don't go to the fair and ride the tilt-a-whirl. I don't know if you saw the video. I don't know if you saw the video of the ride, the fairground ride in Saudi Arabia coming apart. It's one of those with a long stick and a big weight at one end, and then a circle at the other, and everybody sits in the circle with their legs dangling off, and it goes up and down and up and down. It went up, and when it went up, one guy flies off, and then it snaps in half, and the whole thing comes down, with 23 people being injured. We won't hear any more about this because it's Saudi Arabia, and this will be swept aside. And if you're members of the royal family, everybody moves up one.
Is that a Trump Enterprises tilt-a-whirl by any chance?
The maintenance was Trump inspired by the FAA.
Yeah, I would think that somehow, some way, Trump and several other. I mean, I'm not just going to single out Trump for this one, but several other of the presidential candidates and/or office holders or whatever will have, I'm sure, had something to do with it by the time it's over, because that's just what American presidential candidate. How else do you get a new Air Force One?
Name another presidential candidate right now.
Another presidential candidate right now?
Imagine that Trump does not run for a third term or is proclaimed president for a third term by the Republican Party. Imagine somebody running as a Republican and running against him as a Democrat. Who would that be?
So that would be, well, I mean, J.D. Vance is probably the one person I could think of off the top of my head. I'd also say that Gavin Newsom would be a
That's a better guess right there.
pretty solid bet.
How about Hexet?
I think that I'll give you an outside long shot. All right, you want an outside long shot?
Yeah.
You heard it here today first. Besides the fire alarm, Stephen Colbert. I think we may have touched on that the other day, but I mean, I'll bet you that the Democrats are certainly going to take a run at convincing him to run for that office. I don't know if he wants to do it, but I would say that he is somebody whose name will be one way or the other, at least temporarily, tossed in the ring.
Interesting. When you first said it, I thought to myself, "Oh, no way." And then the more I thought about it, if we're going through a period of emperors in America who don't have any political background, just want to assume power and do strange things while they're in office, that would make sense.
Yeah, I don't know that he'll get elected. I don't know that he even eventually will wind up with the nomination. But I think this isn't the first time that he's run. He was, I think he was on the ballot in North Carolina.
Yes, that's his home state.
Yeah, I think he was actually on the ballot there. So it's not one of those things that is completely out of the question. The legitimacy of it may be out of the question. Whether he will wind up being someone that's a viable and true candidate, but
could he be the first presidential candidate to have his own show on television while he's running?
Well, he better get elected before May of next year, right?
Oh no, my network's going to offer him another job. Pick it right up. No, one night is his last night on CBS. Next night is his first night on Mikey and Vinnie Television City. From Television City and Mikey and Vinnie Land, the Stephen Colbert Show.
Well,
live from Spopakia.
Well, I mean, if you consider that most of the presidential candidates do have shows already. I mean, if you took their time that they spend on television in aggregate, and put the time up and tried to, I mean, most of them do have it. I mean, you can make an argument that the presidency is the biggest reality television show on the air, and certainly the current president has proven that it's nothing but a reality show.
I have a hard time. The show part I understand. The reality part escapes me.
True that. Yeah, true that. I mean, it's not really. But what would that do with a? Let's say you had a sane person, an actual reasonable person, who, although he may not have the experience in the job,
you're off to a rocky start.
Was well intentioned, whether he be Republican or Democrat, but was well intentioned.
So you're imagining a well intentioned Republican?
Well, that there could be one out there somewhere. I'm not saying that I would have to give somebody credit that they want to straighten the party out. And I don't know. You know what? Let me try something real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm certainly going to, as the British love to say, give it a go.
I'm wondering how many times you have to test a fire alarm before it's tested.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to do that for every unit in the building, which is going to get them to, 590 units? and they didn't say anything when they sent a notice actually around.
It's funny. I made a note to myself: don't bring up Donald Trump when we're talking about all the trades that happened in baseball. That'll upset Vinnie. It'll depress him, and he won't want to go on.
Well,
As it turns out, we haven't talked about baseball, and I have brought up Donald Trump several times, and it's completely what I wouldn't have guessed that we would go this way today on the Friday show.
Well,
for anyone tuning in for the first time, might guess, no, we do not prepare the show. It's not outlined in any formal way. Our experience allows us to fly by the seat of our britches.
Not just our experience, but for me, my ability to forget what we prepared for moments into after we prepared for it. So I'm now sitting outside. Hang on. I don't have
Maybe they're going to test the deck next.
We're on the deck. We're out on the let me give you Is that better?
You need a little headroom.
Hang on.
There you go.
And let me just do something here real quick.
It's funny, the light improved.
Well, I went outside. You got the natural sunlight.
Yeah.
So,
are we having sun breaks today?
Well, hang on a second. I'm going to, as a matter of fact, let's see if I can actually do this. Bear with me. Sing a song, Michael. Sing us a melody.
When the Giants come to town, it's bye, baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye, baby. Listen to the Giants on KSFO. Root for the home team and go, go, go. It's the San Francisco Giants. It's bye, baby.
Nice job. Nice job, Michael. All right.
That song in a long time. I'm surprised I knew the lyrics. But
let's take on
the reason I bring up it's nice. Nice picture.
Well, and there's the I mean, now we're looking at
Christmas tree.
So we're in the garden now, the Garden of Eden, as I like to call it. And hopefully it will work out a little bit better with this horrific sound that they've decided to permeate us with all morning.
They don't mean it. It's just a test.
Yeah, that's it. It's because I'm sure that we'll find out. Well, it seems like it's moved over to the other side of the building, so I don't know what that is.
It's following you.
It's somewhere following me around. Anyway, hopefully this will be a little bit better for us this morning.
It was annoying, but it wasn't that bad. It's probably much harder on you listening to it than it is for the rest of us.
Yeah, it was definitely hard as far as just I don't have great concentration skills to begin with anymore, and this certainly doesn't help the situation. But we're here and we're doing it and we're making it work. So that's the sign of a true. What would you say? That would be the sign of two true broadcast professionals, right?
And also the same theory that certain teams in baseball have to bring to the next three games. As the Giants and the Mets line up to play each other again, this time in New York City, providing that they can play with the stormy weather that they're suffering through.
Yeah, it's boy, there's just a whole lot to pick apart there.
A lot of new names. You've only got one to remember. You just have to remember Tyler Rogers, the most submarine of all the submarine pitchers in baseball history.
Yeah, I really like his. I mean, because his name evokes guys like Ted Abernathy and You didn't think I was going to have that one first, huh? And Kent Colby,
Yeah.
and certainly, a group of pitchers, not many, not a not a large number, but certainly a group of people, a group of pitchers who
It's
have,
not a long list.
yeah, who have entertained us with that pitch. As a matter of fact, when I was in Little League, I learned how to throw that pitch. Because you can imagine it as a 11-year-old little leaguer, you really didn't see too many people throwing that pitch, and it worked out to my extreme advantage.
Sometimes there's a picture of Tyler Rogers, right-handed reliever for the Giants that just got traded to the Mets, delivering a pitch, and his right hand, just milliseconds from releasing the ball, is inside of 6 inches off the top of the mound. He is so dangerously close to actually scraping his hand and ball on the ground before he releases it. It's fascinating that he has the confidence and the poise and the experience to pitch that way and not blow the delivery with a balk or something else, because he actually hits the ground as his right arm comes forward. Fascinating.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting pitch to throw and to learn to throw. I mean, I don't know if you ever even fooling around tried to get it up there, but your whole dynamic of the way you think your body should be going, the way you think your body's supposed to go and your arm is supposed to go is off anyway, because you're not throwing in a natural way that you throw, even when you throw a regular pitch.
And he doesn't throw regular pitches. One of his most interesting pitches is the rising slider. It comes in, up, and over.
Yeah, which I don't know. I don't know how he gets the ball to do that. I mean, I could get the ball, or used to at a young age, was able to get the ball to stay down, but which wasn't that good, because after a couple of pitches, you probably were going to be able to figure out about where it was going to come.
They time you, right?
Yeah, and time it, and much as they did with Tekulve, except Tekulve had great movement on his ball. Now Abernathy was interesting, which was the guy that made me want to throw it in the first place, because his pitching with the Cubs was such that he had unbelievable movement on the ball. He could move that ball around in the strike zone, up and down, in and out, and make that ball kind of do what he wanted it to do. It wasn't always that way with Tekulve, I don't think.
He didn't. He had the awkward, unique delivery, but he didn't have a lot of pitches that he could throw within it.
Right, which is bad enough to begin with, because you're essentially, what you're doing is you're just giving the hitter something he's not expecting. So 3 quick pitches, and he's still trying to figure out what you're doing.
And this has been Tyler Rogers' best year for consistency, for strikeouts, for being an impact man out of the bullpen. And every team loves the pitcher that can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I mean, I think he's a guy that, I know his contract is up at the end of the year, but I think he's a guy that somebody had said to me, or I read it somewhere. So I was talking to a few baseball guys last night, and somebody had said to me that the Mets had their eye on him for a considerable period of time, that this wasn't their first kind of blush at him, that they have wanted him, or he's been an object of their desire for a number of go-rounds. So
for a couple of years, his twin brother was on the Giants. He's also a pitcher. He's also a right-hander, and he throws with a regular delivery. He's now playing, I think, for the Royals or the Pirates. I think he got traded to the Pirates from the Reds yesterday.
Yeah, because he was because it was
twin brothers get traded on the same day from involving 4 different teams.
Right, and I think that was the first time the Twins had ever gotten traded on the same day. I mean, it's like a quadruple rarity, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, it's rare enough to have twins that play baseball. Uh, and then rare again to have twins that play the same position.
And both
That
make it to the show.
yeah, and that rare enough again to have uh, them both get traded on the same day in a position in the same position. Yeah, there was just a number. I mean, you go down a list of rarities, and it just hadn't happened before. So it was something that for the stat geeks, the people that like to say, "Well, this is the first time it's ever happened." Well, yeah, okay, but it would appear that anytime they do anything, it's the first time that it happens.
What can you tell me about the three guys we got? Blake Tidwell, Jose Buto, and Drew Gilbert. Gilbert's the center fielder. The other two are right-handed pitchers.
Well, I find it interesting that they traded um, um, Gilbert because they traded for a center fielder. So it must have. I mean, that would kind of send at least a thought to me that they felt that he didn't have much of a place, much of a future with the organization. He
Does
was
he
an
only plays? Does he only play center field?
now I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. I mean, he was but it just by reason of deduction, it would say to me that if they let a center fielder go, they didn't see him as somebody who was either ready or somebody who was figured into their plans. Now, the one thing that I will tell you is that he may be good. He just may have not have figured into their plans in the next year or two. The Mets have made it abundantly clear that they're going for this thing this year. That there's no sitting around and saying, "Well, we're building for the future, and we see a bright 2 or 3 years when this kid comes up, or this or that." The Mets clearly feel that they are ready to go now, and that they just they needed to put the components in place to to compete and get into the playoffs and get deep into the playoffs. And I think they were worried because they didn't see a lot of people on the roster that they have as presently constructed that were going to aid in turning the club around like they did last year. So that's why he became expendable, or at least uh, part of what would be a nice piece of a trade bait. So um, so hopefully he has a nice career. I mean, it's not easy to play center field in PN what are they calling it this week? AT&T or whatever they're calling the field this week. In the ballpark by the bay there, it's not easy to play that center field. It's got a lot of angles and a lot of interesting ways to it. So you
The
have to.
Giants have a new center fielder already. This is only his second year. John Ho Lee, Korean player who's won the hearts of the fans and is an everyday player and is a guy with a lot of bingo and speed and ability in the outfield.
Yeah, he seems to be. I mean, I watched him the other day. I mean, I've seen him a few times. He definitely. I mean, he even had a bobblehead night. When do you see that for a second-year player? Or I don't know, was it a bobblehead or a crying towel or some kind of? He had some kind of giveaway. So usually when they do a giveaway, they feel like this guy is going to be part of the action, right?
He's got a big support from the fans in the outfield.
Yeah. Now Budo was a giant before.
I don't remember Jose Buto as a Giant.
Yeah, I believe that I don't know if they got him from the Giants or he might have been what's his name, Harry. What's the guy that they traded 10 million times? Ford.
Harry Stevens.
No, who was the guy that they kept trading back and forth to the Giants to Seattle to the
Seattle.
Giants? Ford was his last name,
Yeah.
but I forget his first name. But he may have been a throw-in on one of those deals to the Mariners, and then the Mariners traded him to the Met. I don't know, but I thought for the last 2 years, um, Budo was a nice little piece of that bullpen. Was a nice middle reliever uh, that would come in and get you a third out in an inning and stick around for the next three, which is I think what you want out of a good a middle reliever is to send it to get him in there and send him in there and get you out of a jam.
So he's
And
not a
then,
candidate for being a closer, for instance.
yeah, I'm trying to remember if they had used him when when Edwin was not able to go. When because he's got a thing in his contract that says that he doesn't have to pitch if his trumpeter doesn't show up. So he might have, the trumpeter might have had a night at the store club the night before,
He
and
got too much copa.
so they says, well, all right, Budo, you get to go today.
Are you going
You're,
after hours at the copa or what?
yeah, you're in today. You're the guy that's got to go, and so I don't know how that's going to work, but um, I thought Budo was did a pretty good job. There's a lot of people in New York. I believe that he may be out of all the players that they traded yesterday. They seem to be most upset about him.
Well, that wasn't the only trade with the New York team that the Giants pulled off yesterday. They traded with the Yankees, sending their closer, Carmelo Duvall, to the Yankees in return for Tristan Vreeling, a right-handed pitcher, their number 19 prospect on the Yankee list, who was 1-for-1, Vreeling for Duvall, and the Yankees got themselves a closer that's had spotty results, is the best way I can put it. And the Giants always maintained, that Duvall's problem on the mounds were psychological, not physical.
Well, good. Well, that's what the Red Sox always maintain with Devers, right?
Yeah.
So you have. It appears that the team psychologist will have less work to do.
Some teams, everybody has a seat in front of their locker. At the Giants, you got a couch.
Yeah.
Stretch out and tell me about how you feel.
Yeah. Poor guy is, trying to get a little rest before the game, and the only price he has to pay for that is telling the guy in the tie and the. As a matter of fact, I believe the Giants psychiatrist wears a bolo tie instead of a regular tie.
Can pose as a towel boy if you're not careful.
Right. But and that's happened before, where I mean, it's one of the job dangers of being a towel boy is that you have to, be careful that you don't get snapped. And I think most players will tell you, Michael, that you don't want to get snapped.
No, you just don't.
So I think that's the. I left my unfortunately left my phone inside. I had something queued up.
I was wrong, Vinnie. Besides Tristan Vreeling, the right-handed pitcher for the Yankees also sent Jesus Rodriguez, who is a catcher and third baseman, to the Giants in return for Carmelo Duvall. So 2-for-1 there. And Jesus Rodriguez, who plays catcher and third base and looks like Yogi Berra. He's got a classic catcher's body, a Smokey Burgess body, was their number 25 pick. So I hope these guys can do one thing that I need them to do when they play. They can play third base, they can play catcher. I do not care what position they play. They have to hit the damn ball, or I will find someone who will. And my mantra for National League West Baseball finally caught up with Buster Posey, who now uses it every day. Why did you trade that guy? We loved Mike Yastrzemski in the outfield. Yeah, well, he was hitting 230. And if you don't hit the damn ball, I'm going to find someone who will. And so Mike Yastrzemski gets off to the Kansas City Royals.
Mike Yastrzemski to?
Hmm?
Where did they send Yastrzemski to?
Send him to the Kansas City Royals for Junior Marte. Right-handed pitcher, number 20 pick on the list for the Royals.
He's another Marte. So we now have, how many Martes do we have playing in the major league?
Need? I can make it happen.
I think we probably could find a few more because we got, that would make 3 that I know of off the top of my head. The former Pirate Starling, who's with the Mets and plays the outfield. Cattell, who was with the Diamondbacks, and there was much to do about him earlier in the year when some fan insulted him, said something about his mom who had recently passed.
Something ugly
enough that it got the guy banned from life.
Yep.
From Major League Baseball.
That'll be just about enough out of you, young man.
Which I don't disagree with. I'm like,
No.
There's some things. I mean, yeah, you pay your money. You can go and boo somebody all you want, but when you still have to keep some kind of class and some kind of civility.
You can go too far.
Yeah, and this guy evidently did with what he said, because if you got a bunch of Major League Baseball players standing up and saying, boy, what this guy said was, my God, like I had never heard anybody say anything like that before. Well, that's
you go.
Start you thinking.
Out you go, Junior.
Yeah, so they blew him out, and they said, and the other thing was Pete Rose had passed away, so they're permanently banned for life had whittled down to one person.
Got to have somebody on the list.
Right. Although I suspect that that the banned for life list is going to grow because we have now 2 players who have inserted themselves into a gambling controversy. And something tells me that this may not be the end of it.
Are they on the same team by chance?
I don't know. You know what? It's interesting. I saw it, and because we had so much trade stuff today, I didn't necessarily jump on it. But I'm going to check that out over the weekend and try to find a lot more about that story. What I thought was interesting too, Mikey, is that the Twins, out of a 26-man roster, traded more than a third of their roster away in one day. They traded a total of 10 players.
We didn't get one. We were trying to get some Twins, but apparently we a little late in the mix.
Yeah, the A's got a number of players. But it was I think besides the Diamondback, it was the biggest haul that any club had gotten.
Well, we're going to see some results tonight. A 3-game series begins in New York with the Giants and the Mets. We just had a very interesting matchup in San Francisco with the Mets sweeping the Giants 3-3. followed by the Pittsburgh Pirates coming into San Francisco and sweeping the Giants 3-3. And that's when Buster Posey said, I've got a handful of guys. I got 6 guys in the starting lineup that can't hit 230. And that ain't going to make it.
Yeah, that's time. That makes it time. If it's August 1st, and you still have 6 guys in your lineup that can't hit a deuce 30, yeah, it's time to move some people around. I mean, at that point,
the message is really
Phoenix.
Maybe you're a catcher, maybe you're an outfielder, but you can't play the full game of baseball if you can hit 230 and expect to keep a job. You got no guarantees of a job in baseball anyway. You're one sprained ankle away from never playing the game again. But the fact that you can't hit and don't hit and will not score runs, and you play the Mets and the Pirates and score an average of 1 run a night and don't present a threat to anybody who's playing you. You just don't present an offensive threat at all. You got to go. And it's up to the Giants now to bring in replacements to take those jobs offensively and to use the new pitching staff, which they got 6 new pitchers. Let's see them. Let's trot them out there. Let's use them. I don't want these guys to languish in AAA. I want to see if they can work. And if they can't, then send them down to Raleigh, to the Fighting Squirrels or wherever they are, and get somebody up here who can hit. And if you can't hit the ball, I will find someone who will. And that's my message to you. Welcome to San Francisco. I hope you get a hit, because if you don't, your replacement is going to be hitting in your place.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a simple theory.
Yeah, I mean, and I like the theory. You know, and it's interesting that again we're talking about so many players on a roster that you can really put your finger on. How does that change the dynamic of a clubhouse when you take 10? I mean, I think that people make sometimes too much out of how is one player a 1-for-1 swap or a 1-for-2 swap, and one player's headed off to the minors. I think that can sometimes change. Have nothing to do with the dynamic of the club. But if you're changing 10 players, if there's 10 people that were there on Thursday that aren't there on Friday, 2 things I know for sure. Number one, don't bother the clubby, because he's looking for uniforms and looking for numbers.
Right.
And making sure that the right number gets on the right uniform.
And good luck to Kansas City Royals spelling Yastrzemski right on the first try. I bet they will.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have that whole thing to figure out. And I guess number 2 is you're just looking all around the place and going, well, this guy's locker was there, and we've had a relationship all year. My friends go to his kids' house. My kids go to his kids' house and everything like that. It does change the dynamic of a clubhouse. It does change the fabric of the construction of the team, because all of that stuff that you learned in spring training about, feeling comfortable with the people that you're playing with and all that stuff, that's all out the window. It's basically spring training day 1, isn't it?
It is now.
So good luck to them.
It's a show me situation. Show me.
I'm interested in, the interesting thing for the Pirates. And again, with the Pirates, I mean, unfortunately, it bears out to be true. What people say is that they're just a factory for other teams. Because, again, we clearly have a situation where you have players that, have promise, have future ahead of them, and we're traded for more players that have some promise and have some future ahead of them, but not much in the way of somebody's going to come here tomorrow and help us move up in the standings. It's not even about
nobody coming in to change the scene.
As a matter of fact, you have one of the people, two of the people, three of the people who were traded that had helped change the scene to help them get into to last place. I mean, the Pirates were a team that needed help getting into last place.
Can you help me, buddy?
Yeah, can you spare a dime for a cup of last place?
For a week in last place.
So, and again, the Pirates traded David Bednar, which is a guy who, um, had helped the Pirates at least become watchable. A piece of their bullpen, a closer, a guy who could shut down another team in the ninth inning, um, and for the most part, did a great job as this team's closer or one of their closers that they would use. And I guess the word is on the street is don't get too good if you're with the Pirates because you won't be living in Pittsburgh too much longer. Bednar, I don't know, uh, was sent for three of the Yankees prospects. What I like, and so you have more prospects who will get good and get traded by the Pirates. That's your future today if you're a Pirates fan. There's no future in it.
Well, you can say the same about the Yankees to an extent because if you're successful in AA and AAA and you're a known prospect, you're on your way out of town too. Because Brett Boone needs somebody who can win because they're floundering, and their position in the standings is not what they had in mind. And they got Aaron Judge, on the injured list. It's a combination of those events have put Brett Boone in a odd position vis-a-vis his job for next year. Yankees are supposed to win, and they're not in a position to do it. Giants were the same, but they are now under 500 for the first time this year. 9 games out of first place, in third place, way behind the Padres and the Dodgers. It's a grim outlook for them, and they've got nothing to show for this season except frustration and the inability to score runs. Now, some of that has visited the Yankees too. They had a couple bad streaks.
Yeah.
The fact that that's the story of the Pirates every year is not news. Oh, we haven't mentioned the Seattle Mariners, who reacquired one of their previous players and are
give you $5 if you can say his first name.
Eugenio.
No, forget it. Not even close.
Well, what is it?
It's Eugenio. The hell if I can do it. Eugenio.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
I believe it.
If you go with Eugenio, you're not going to get anything. You're going to get asked to leave the clubhouse.
One of the successes of the Mariners trading session is they remade themselves at third and at first. Not many teams can pull that off before a trading deadline.
Well, they, I think really one of the things that was interesting to me is that with all of the other teams, and I mean, everybody wanted this guy. Eugenio was on pace to hit 54 home runs this year. So who doesn't want that kind of slugger in their lineup? In the lineup of a team that has a pretty good lineup to begin with. I mean, they might not all be filling their up to their potential at the moment, but the Mets aren't, or maybe the Dodgers are the only team right now and the Cubs are the only two teams that are fulfilling in the National League their potential for what they should be, right? And so Eugenio's going to come in. They didn't give up a ton for him, really, if you think about it. They gave up Tyler Locklear, who was up here last year, and I think might have been up parts of this year a few times, but hadn't really clicked like they thought he was going to click.
He didn't win a sustained position in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, again, he had I don't know, a handful of games last year, and I don't even know if he actually, like I said, he might have come up and sat on the bench, but never played. Or if he did play, wasn't paying attention to the game. So he, you know, had, he seemed he was looked at as, if we got to give this guy up, it's gonna, it's gonna be no skin off our ass. We're gonna give up, and maybe he'll become Babe Ruth. Who knows? But for the Mariners, they got to do what they got to do now. Oddly enough, they're much in the same position the Mets are in. Now, the Mets have a bigger palette to work off of, but the Mariners have one too. They may not have the depth that the Mets have, but they certainly have enough people.
Similar challenges. The challenge remains similar for both teams.
Yeah, so I think that Locklear was a good, a big price to pay, but not as big as and not as worse as if they don't do anything. Because then the price to pay will be on several fronts. It'll be with people being pissed off in your lineup. It'll be with people being fans being pissed off that the team once again let a trading deadline go and didn't acquire anybody that you could look at and say, this guy will get us to the promised land. And
Seattle fans and Giants fans are similar in one respect. When the player gets traded, all the tearful Tinas and woeful Williams come out and say, "Oh, he'll always be a Giant. I'm sorry he's gone, but he'll always be a Giant." Yes, he will, and he'll always be the guy who hit 230 and couldn't crack the lineup. He'll always be exactly what he was when he played here, which was an insignificant contributor to the good of the team. You loved him. He was your man. He was your guy. You fell in love with him when he came up from the minors, and he never proved to be worthy of the position that he was given. He wasn't equal to the task, and go ahead and miss him, but he wasn't here to win.
And that's been a continuing and repetitive story with the Mariners. The Mariners have had prospects roll through here and brought them up. I mean, I call it Shane Monahan syndrome. Okay? Shane Monahan, I don't know if you remember Shane, but Shane was a guy that came up in, 1997.
And he had a baseball name.
Yeah, and he had, and his uncle was Rocket Richard. So he had the genes, he had Rocket Richard, of course, of hockey fame. And he was a fan-friendly guy, and he was a good-looking guy. And so all of a sudden, the Shane Monahan fan club popped up, and we had a lot of fun with him on the air, because he was a good self-promoter. But when I went back, but he had a week where he hit good. He had a week where he was a stellar player. He had a week where, he'll be able, if he can show somebody his baseball card and put his thumb over the rest of the weeks in 1996 or whatever it was, he's going to look like he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But he didn't. He was another guy who, and the difference between a champ and somebody who can play is there's people that can come up and hit for a week. And then there was people who can come up and can hit for their careers. He was a guy that could hit for a week. But everybody was, bent out of shape because they got rid of him or they traded him or something. And actually they kept him around. And I remember going back down to spring training in 2001, it probably was, and Shane Monahan pulled up in a cop car because he was a member of the Peoria Police Department. So, so maybe he was looking for Al Martin. I don't know. Uh, but there's a ton of. But you look at the Mariners lineup now, Michael, and I mean J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, Josh Naylor, and Eugenio Suarez. That's that's the
That's an improvement.
well, potentially it's the best offensive lineup I think I've ever seen. Is it potentially the best offensive lineup that I've seen as a Mariner watcher since I got here in '92. I mean,
And it's time for that potential to show itself in production.
yeah, you have a one to six, 1 to 7, 1 to 8 uh, lineup that can show. I mean, I can't remember when the Mariners had a catcher that you could put in a 3, 4, or 5 hole. Now, again, maybe when I was in Pittsburgh, they had one, and I didn't realize it, or wasn't, just watching the Pirates.
I don't think they've had a switch hitting power hitter that can do 470 from both sides of the plate.
Yeah, I just don't think that they've had that type of player in their lineup, and they have that, and they built around it. They went out and a lot of people will say, well, they gave up this and they gave up that. Listen, this club needs to win this year.
And it's not an organization that knows how to win because for the embarrassing fact that they never have.
Yeah. As I said when I wrote that article about Ichiro, that little thing that I wrote on Facebook about Ichiro, the fact that this team has never gotten to the World Series, despite all of the Hall of Famers and all of the talent that has gone through the players' entrance of Safeco Field and the Kingdome, besides all of them, that they've never gotten to a World Series, is the stain on the soul of the franchise. And you're not going to erase that stain until you go to a World Series. You can throw out bobbleheads and throw hot dogs from the upper deck, and you can throw people off the upper deck. Wouldn't
Let's
that
try
be
that. In fact, I think we should try that.
That would be bring somebody you don't like to the ballpark.
It's called the Saturday Sacrifice.
You've heard of Nickel Beer Night? Well, you've heard of Disco Demolition Night. It's his brother-in-law Demolition Night. Bring a family member.
We're taking a page from history. A Mayan high priest will come and cut your heart out and throw you off the upper deck.
Followed by the heart.
Yeah, the heart comes next.
Yeah, first your relative, and then his heart or her heart. Throw him right out.
This could sting a little. This might sting a little. Who knows?
It's going to hurt a little bit, but it's going to hurt you a lot more. It's going to hurt me a lot worse than it hurts you. I don't know. I just think that there's no complaint. And that's the thing that is so rare in Mariners history and in although I did see people complaining yesterday on social media and all of that stuff about the moves. I find nothing wrong with any of the moves I make. This team doesn't need he will someday go to the Hall of Fame. He will do this. He will do that. There's nothing in that. That's nothing. That's idiot talk in the lunchroom in second period of a peanut butter orange marmalade sandwich dipped in tomato soup. It's nothing.
Those discussions, butter, no parsnips. Your parsnips will remain unbuttered if that's the basis of your enthusiasm.
What's the difference between a parsnip and a turnip?
The taste. Turnips taste much like the hot dogs that are thrown off the upper deck.
Yeah.
It's obviously a hot dog, but it lacks a little something. Parsnip has got a little more taste.
Okay. I've always wondered because I know that the two exist. I don't know where though on the food chain they do exist, and that's my fault. I should go to the produce section sometime and spend.
Well, there are those who will argue that parsnip is not a foodstuff.
What is a parsnip?
It'd be just a member of the plant family
Okay.
for those who do not eat them.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you hear about all the time, but you just never get to it. I mean, mom, you don't come home to mom and she says, "I got to play the parsnips for you." I was watching a World War II movie the other day about Polish. Was it Polish refugees or Polish people who were escaping the war? And the woman in the shop had said, "Well, we don't have any potatoes today, but we're going to give you turnips."
Another root vegetable.
And I was like, uh, "Okay, what? Why is it analogous to have a turnip instead of a potato?" So
It's like
that's
you
all.
wanted chicken tenders and you end up with, um, damn, I had it right on the tip of my tongue. Beets, borscht.
I'm a beets fan. I like beets, as long as they're oddly enough pickled and served from. The beets you usually get at the salad bar.
Yeah.
They're kind of in like a vinegary
Mhm.
solution, and they have maybe some slight red onion in them.
Yep.
I like those beets.
They work well on a salad, those beets.
Yeah, a few placed beets on top of um, some chickpeas
That's a
and
good
some nice
combination.
fresh greens and um, Italian dressing.
Well, you
I
got your oil, you got your vinegar, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, yeah, you get a double shot of vinegar there, and I can't imagine the vinegar does. I mean, it cleans your bathroom well. Have you ever used vinegar to clean the bathroom?
Oh, yes.
So,
I have a question for you. It has nothing to do with bathrooms or vinegar, but what are you driving, Vinny?
what am I driving? Well, it's funny you asked that question, Michael, because I was just looking at what I was driving in the photos here, and I was just going to shoot a photo of what I was driving to my computer so I could put it up for you and show you what I'm driving this week. Because uh, interesting enough, thing is that the car companies have sent me a really nice car to review, a Subaru hybrid Forester.
Subadoo Forester hybrid.
Subi Dooby Doo. That's Frank Sinatra's Subaru. Uh, a Subi Dooby, hybrid
Scooby Dooby Doo
Forester.
blue eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, and this is now just use it just locally yesterday. I didn't get a chance to take it out on the road or anything, but I love the Forester. I put several friends in Foresters that I know. The people will often come to me and ask me what should I drive, what should I get,
But
and
Seattle,
I often
Tacoma used to be the number one market for Forester for a Subaru product.
well, yeah, until Tesla came along and screwed everything up in the automotive world. Yeah, it supplanted or replaced Volvo as the number one car in Seattle. Volvos for the longest time because of the the Swedish Nordic heritage here were the big car, number one car. They made their bones.
That's my
Volvo
favorite
did.
story about Edmonds. No, it's not Edmonds. My favorite story about the Seattle area is on the 4th of July. The Swedes are on one side of the street and the Norwegians are on the other side. And the Swedes take their firecrackers and throw them at the Norwegians. The Norwegians pick them up, light them, and throw them back.
There you go.
That passes for a Scandinavian joke in Seattle.
And a fine one it is, because it's not dirty. It's not racist. Well, to a certain degree, I guess it is. But it's all in fun. It's an all in fun type of joke.
Right.
You know? And you know, Volvo's it's a good car. What other car company has a president of the car company who comes out at the New York Auto Show and says by 2020 we expect that nobody will die in the United States in a Volvo?
That's quite a claim.
It's a claim. It's a claim, and I never look back at the figures of what the final numbers were, but I'm pretty sure that the number was low of people who died in a Volvo in 2020. Anyway, that was, and then Subaru replaced the Volvo somewhere in the 90s.
As the safest.
Well, not necessarily the safest, but it just enjoyed the company enjoyed a reputation of a good company to buy a car from. You know, they were perceived as reliable cars, both in the ability to get service quickly. Dealers here did a great job of getting their cars to people. When they took them in for service, they got them back to them right away. They repaired them as promised. They didn't rip them off. You know, it was everything that you really wanted in a dealer. And the cars were reasonably priced. They weren't stylish necessarily, but they did have a good sense of safety about them, and people enjoyed those cars. They were snappy little cars, and all of a sudden, people started buying them, and they really hit. You know, Subaru hit the nail on the head here, and was the favorite car here for a number of years. Then all of a sudden,
you may have some trouble with the tariffs keeping that position.
The what?
They may have some trouble with the tariffs keeping that top of the line position, because they were always priced toward the top end of their.
Right. They were priced towards the top end, and it's going to remain to be seen. Although, you know, Subaru builds a large number of cars in Indiana. There's they were one of the first companies to embrace the idea of building your car in America. You know, when the thing to do, as you know, Volkswagen was probably the first, because they built that plant in Westmoreland, Pennsylvania, for the Rabbit, and they just found that it was cheaper to build a car here than to bring it over from Germany. But then what they found out was that the American worker and the German worker were quite different.
You're not equal to the task. Did you put together this car? Well, what do you mean put together? Did all the parts there and everything tightened down and ready to go? Well, not necessarily. Why? You never said that. You said get the car ready. You want to sell it. You didn't say you wanted it in top condition. You gotta tell me what you want before you complain that you didn't get it.
One of the jokes is that you know, the German Volkswagen Rabbit had round headlights, and the American Volkswagen Rabbit had the square headlights. The new at the time square
Halogen.
seal beams, and that the cars built in America, for the most part, had one round and one square. So,
Wow.
so anyway, we're testing out. We're going to take the Subaru Forester Hybrid, which again, every Forester that I've driven, I've thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, it's not a racing car. It's just a well put together, well constructed, solid. Get your family in the car, drive them to where you're going to go to, and you have an expectation that everything is going to work. And if you do get into an accident, they have improved. And you brought up safety earlier. They have improved their safety in Subaru, so that their eyesight system, which is their driver defensive system, has improved to be one of the best in the business.
We'll hear more about this tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I imagine.
11 o'clock in the morning, you will have more to learn about the Subaru. We'll be talking about that. We're going to have our friend, the Lilienthals, on. They are our resident adventurers. And I think we talked about them a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately, we had to move their appearance because while they could find America up and down unpaved roads, they had trouble finding the studio. So we will go
I
figure.
believe that.
Yeah. So they don't. You know what it is, Michael? It's street signs. Street signs tend to sometimes confuse people. So we got them. We drew them a good map on the back of a piece of paper, a placemat, as a matter of fact. And so we'll have them here tomorrow, and we'll be talking to them about their trip across America. And oddly enough, what kind of car do you think that they'll be that they took across America?
A Subaru or a Volvo?
How did you guess? A Subaru. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about, it's kind of going to be a Swedish day tomorrow because we're going to also have talk about the Volvo, the latest Volvo that's coming up, but we'll also talk about the latest Subaru that's hitting the streets sometime in early 2026. Been a nice little premiere to Subaru that is coming out. So, excuse me, the Volvo. So we're going to have a pretty big, action-packed show. We'll play our normal Saturday morning game. Where's Leon?
Where is he?
We don't know. We're going to try to find him though.
Did he
And
get traded to Pirates? Possible.
he was traded to the Pirates. Now that you mention it, but not those. I think they were the Somalian Pirates.
That's a tough team. That's a tough
which
team.
is a very bad team. It's a hard team to get a handle on.
Hard team to get to and hard team to stay on.
No, Jolly Roger that 10-4. So it'll be we'll have an hour and change of what I hope will be a fun and informative show for people. Just talking about and reviewing cars, and please join us right here. All you got to do is click on Drive Time Radio and TV, or Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week? Or New York Vinnie Richichi, or Mikey and Vinnie, any one of those on Facebook or on any one of the our channels will get you to our show at 11 o'clock or thereabouts tomorrow morning. I promise you that we'll
You'd
have
be
a show.
Are you serving parsnips and Manischewitz?
Well, we're going to try to find out which one is better. Which one do you like? Which is which one turns you on? Out of that choice, which one would you go with? And
Buttered parsnips.
Yeah, well, as I say to many people, this could be the last decision ever in your life. So why not make it a good one? Listen to the show.
Get it right. Have a good show tomorrow, Ben.
Mikey, thank you. You have a good weekend. What do you got? Anything good happening this weekend?
We're going to go play catch with the kids, and we're going to work on Kennedy Quinn's voiceover challenge. And she's taking a voiceover class and doing very well.
Good.
And Boaster is improving his ability with the ground ball and his accuracy with throws.
Good.
That's what inspired him about watching Willie Mays warm up by playing catch in front of the dugout.
Well,
so
you know
we
what?
got some things.
That's
some
things
to work on.
Yeah, you get that kid to learn, because the way I figure it, the Giants, the Mets, or the Mariners are going to need somebody by the time he is old enough to catch in front of the dugout.
He's only 6, so we're on our way. We're not that far away. Not that far away at all.
Remember, baseball is the only sport with a high school draft.
There you go. And so it should be.
Exactly. All right, Mikey, listen, you take care, and I will see you tomorrow, Monday, at 10:10 or so, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Until then, my friend, as Mr. Sammy Davis Jr. used to say, right after he started saying it, right after he left the Will Maston trio,
the Candyman can.
Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
It's quite a wine. See you, Ben.
See you, Mikey. Take care. Thank you all for listening to. We always appreciate the time you spend with Mikey and I every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
We sincerely do. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
All right, Mike. Take care.